Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. It is Friday, August 15th, 2025. As we look at some of the top stories from this past week, as well as news from today that isn't being covered by the mainstream media. This is Alternative News, and I'm your host, Gabriel. Up first, an interesting story has resurfaced. And we'll get into that in a moment. But first, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory here. And we'll listen to Farrakhan here talk about Dr. York being set up.
Armageddon has already started. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the battle will be in the sky. It just don't mean airplanes. See, the battle has already begun. The battle is for the mind. Satan battling for your mind. God battling for your mind.
Let me tell you something. Not only will they persecute you, they'll lie on you. They'll fabricate lies. They'll imprison you and create cases around you. The same way they tried to defame the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then they tried to defame Malcolm X, and then they even tried to defame Dr. Martin Luther King by some secretary. That's what they'll do. They'll imprison you, and then they'll create lies to turn your own people against you. They'll persecute you after righteous name's sake. The same way I'm talking to you, they're going to come after me eventually. Believe it. They're going to say, that man is too dangerous. I don't like him. Let's make some lies up on him. Let's turn his people against him. Let's imprison him. And if we can, let's kill him because his people won't help him anyway. And they'll try it. And I'll be at the mercy of the devil because people say, well, won't Allah step in and help you? And I say, did he step in and help John the Baptist? And the answer would be no. He will not intervene at that point. You understand?
The government of America knows that whenever a people have been oppressed and suppressed and denied basic rights, freedom, justice, and equality, which are the essentials of life, they know that the longer we are deprived, the greater will be the leader that comes to answer that deprivation. So they were watching to see who that leader was. They were looking for the Messiah. Just like Pharaoh was looking for the birth of a deliverer, and just like Herod was looking for the Messiah. They heard Malachi York. They heard a brilliant black brother. They saw him building a small nation here in Georgia. Is he the Messiah? Trumped up charges. Break up his movement. Put brother in jail. Watch for the leader who is gaining strength, popularity, power, influence. Then if you can bring him into court, fine. If you can't find a way to trump up charges, find a way to kill him. Find a way to kill him.
Thank you, Digital Spittle, for that. And that's the Digital Spittle YouTube channel. And I just want to mention, I said that was Farrakhan there talking about Dr. York being set up. But actually that started out, I didn't realize my mic was quite so close. I can see that it's coming through just a little loud. I'm going to adjust that there on the fly here. Back to what I was saying there. Before Farrakhan talked there a moment ago, Dr. York was talking, and he actually was predicting being set up, and that was years before it happened. And he was talking about other people who were set up in similar ways, people who are teaching similar things or in similar situations. Some of it's racially motivated, Some of it has to do with what they're teaching because it's uplifting to black people. But the update that I wanted to mention is they had an interview this past week right here on YouTube on the OSM Vision YouTube channel, saying not only are they bringing back Tama-Re, they're going to rebuild Tama-Re, but they're going to build more than one. So they'll start out with one, and then the plan is to spread out and build more Tama-Re's in other locations for people to visit and stuff like that, which is going to be exciting for anyone who's actually visited Tama-Re, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But because I actually went there once. But for anyone who doesn't know, what happened was the authorities tore down Tama-Re illegally, and also the charges against Dr. York were fake charges. So at this point, all of the evidence has come out and shows that the entire thing, them destroying the property and the pyramids, as well as the fake charges against Dr. York, it was all racially motivated, as well as motivated by this anti-Egyptian effort that I'm noticing. I'm seeing a pattern here of this anti-Egyptian effort where, for some reason, they don't want anyone to know anything about the secrets or mysteries related to ancient Egypt. This is why the Egyptian sites at the Grand Canyon are off limits with no trespassing. And so, for example, researcher Timothy Hogan was harassed and detained when he tried visiting those sites at the Grand Canyon. And he's a U.S. citizen. He was born and raised here in the U.S. Well, I can say firsthand this was not a cult. And tearing the place down and arresting the teacher on fake charges were violations of the First Amendment, as the theme park celebrated ancient Egyptian culture as well as religion. And I visited Tama-Re before it was destroyed, and the place was beautiful. The people were beautiful and friendly, and it was honestly one of the safest and most peaceful places I ever visited. James Ingram, the singer, the famous singer, he sang a song while I was there. I believe it was called Tama-Re. I'm not sure if he wrote that song, but I'm sure he probably did. And it was a great song. Everybody really enjoyed it. And everybody was free to come and go when I was there. There was absolutely no signs or indications of anything illegal or immoral happening. And I'm going to leave links in the description for all of this stuff, so you guys can check out the references or listen to it in its entirety if you want to. Up next, Trump stole public land for Alligator Alcatraz for the torture prison.
Please tell us about the private property signs.
Private property signs were just installed 2 days ago, and I obviously take issue with that because this was public land. I've parked on that road with my children and hiked and enjoyed the Everglades, and for us, we no longer have access. And I believe that the governor was somebody who supported Amendment 2 that we passed, which is our now constitutional right to hunt and fish. And hunting deer season opened, I think today, in the South District. And to me, I don't think hunters have access to this property anymore. Or fishermen.
So, like, before all this went in, you could go down that road.
Oh, absolutely. These gates have never been closed. I mean, literally in Betty Osiola's entire lifetime, elders in the community, those gates have never been closed. Yes, you've not been able to get onto the airstrip. There's been fencing around that small little portion, but this is a much larger property that has rock ponds or pools that were, from when they first started this project, people that don't have boats, airboats or swamp buggies, those are places they can hike out and have access to the beautiful Everglades and be off of 41. And again, fish, hike, hunters have always used that land.
What do you think Miami-Dade's goal was in creating the jetport beyond it getting voted down? Well,
after it was called the Everglades Jetport Pact, and once that fell through, the articles that I've read from back then refer to it as Miami-Dade quietly purchasing the property here. Because apparently these were 32 separate lots that comprise what we now know to be the Dade Collier Training and Transition Facility.
Yeah.
Or airport. It's very difficult to find any of the property deeds or the titles or any of the transactional information. So I welcome anybody that would like to do that because, Collier has record of this, but not all the way back to its purchase. And so I would be very interested in seeing what the property deeds say to this because community members here and elders all say that this was never supposed to be developed. Nothing was ever supposed to happen here.
In the fight, like how do you think the city actually feels about this space? Do you think they want to let the government, the state, the feds have it?
I think that initially we saw Mayor Levine Cava writing letters, asking questions and asking for transparency and access. But at the same time, we also see reports where she said she's been in negotiation for 2 years with the state and wants to sell this property.
So speaking out of two sides of the same mouth.
Yes, very much so. And I think that, again, the property doesn't belong to her, it belongs to the taxpayers.
Just like Alligator Alcatraz, just like Alcatraz got shut down for crimes against humanity. I think this place, Alligator Alcatraz, needs to be shut down for all the same reasons that Alcatraz, the original Alcatraz, was shut down, if not for even worse reasons. Up next, nationwide protests scheduled for tomorrow. And I have a feeling, folks, that these are going to be big. They said that the protests that took place for No King's Day were record-breaking and that the numbers were in the millions.
This was the scene 2 months ago to the day, June 14th, at what may have been the largest mass protest in American history. Millions of Americans turned out at No Kings rallies across the country. From big blue cities to small, deep red towns, all of them united with a shared message for the president. We won't bend the knee. Despite the turnout, Donald Trump has only expanded his executive powers and flexed with this federal takeover of Washington, D.C. this week. But the Americans who oppose him aren't letting up either. Ezra Levin is the co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible, which helped organize the No King's Day protests, and is now holding another national day of action this Saturday called Fight the Trump Takeover in 250 locations across the country. He joins me now. So, Ezra, good to see you. As we get closer to Saturday's protests, what are some of your expectations? What are you preparing for, and what do you want people to take from it?
Look, my expectation is that courage is contagious, and we've seen a lot of courage out there. The Texas reps who left Texas, broke quorum, and defied both Donald Trump and the ruling GOP party in the state to stop the gerrymander in the state, that took guts. That was courage. Now the question is, how do you make that contagious? It can't all be on the Texas reps. We've got to do our part. Saturday is the part where we make it contagious. Saturday is the part where we show up and show the Texas reps they're not alone. they're not alone in this fight against Trump. So if folks are on the sidelines looking at what Trump is doing in Texas, what he's doing in D.C., what he's done to L.A., what he's threatening to do to Missouri and Indiana and Florida, and they're asking, gosh, what can I do? Here's something you can do. You can show the Texas reps who are on the front lines they're not alone. You can show Donald Trump that he doesn't have all the cards, and you can show up and push your own state legislators, especially you all in blue states like a California and Illinois, a Washington and New Mexico. Show them that you want them to fight back. That's what you can do right now.
I'd go to the protest. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. I have to check my schedule. But, you know, I would just as much protest Biden. I'm not I don't have love for the left or the right. I think that we need a new third party, an independent middle party where people can be united. This left and right nonsense. They're both equally corrupt, in my opinion. Next, a week ago today, they announced that they caught the person accused of being the Anaconda bar killer.
At this time, we'll open up for questions. I would ask that you please raise your hand, state your name and outlet, and we'll do our best to answer. Over here.
I'm Duncan Adams, Montana Standard. Was the suspect armed when he was apprehended, and did he resist?
I'm going to defer details about the arrest to law enforcement, or Austin, do you want to take it?
Yeah. We're going to be real careful about this, Duncan. I mean, was he technically armed? Yes, he was technically armed. I don't know how much further I want to go with that. I think that's as far as I'm going to go. Yeah, he had, there was a weapon on him.
Yes.
John Riley, Montana Intelligence Network. My question is actually for the county attorney. When can we expect charges to potentially be filed, and his first appearance?
Sure. So in terms of what that is going to look like and how publicly available that's going to be is developing, to be totally honest with you. I am very invested in making sure that every part of this is as fair as it can be, and that extends to the fairness to the defendant of what the pretrial coverage looks like, and that's something we're cognizant of. And so at this time, I'm not in a position to comment, but I can tell you that we're going to be working to collect hours, days, literally 7 days worth of information, and so that's going to take a long time, but we will, whatever can be shared, I promise to do, but also know that we're going to keep a lid on what we can for the integrity of the case.
Okay. Yes.
Megan Thompson, MTN News. Was the suspect taken to a jail or something after he was arrested, or did he go to the hospital?
Go ahead.
Sure. He went, upon apprehension, he was provided medical assistance, so he was taken to a hospital, has been medically cleared, and remains in custody at this time.
Yeah, John.
John Amy, MTN News. How did you guys find him? Can you explain how you got the tip or where it came from to find this guy today?
Go ahead, Lee. Yeah.
The question is, what did we do? What were the techniques to find him? Obviously, the Attorney General has talked about some of the specialized teams that were put in place. They have tremendous assets in the way of technology, canines, cameras, devices that track movement up in that area. So all of those things were in play, in addition to basically human searches, walking through that difficult terrain to find it. So as all of those things were organized, we were able to eventually close in on Mr. Brown and locate him today.
Was there a tip from somebody, or did you just...
We've received several tips from the community, which put us in a certain position, investigative-wise and search-wise, that I think was advantageous in this investigation.
So he didn't really answer the question and say how they found him or where they found him. Really no details at all. He just gave kind of a general, vague answer of how they go about finding people. Just kind of a general answer. Let me show you guys a picture on screen real quick here. I shared this last week. But, so, this guy could not have gotten far. He's holding the wall because he can't walk. He looks drunk. He looks beat up. He looks like people ripped his shirt off of him, and he's trying to get away. If you look at a better image of the one where he's holding the wall, it also looks like there's 3 scratch marks near his neck, like he was attacked. I just don't think that this guy got far. That's my point. And so, you know, they had to know where he was for most of this time. I think that they waited to arrest him, and it's just a very odd case because they're so tight-lipped about everything regarding this Anaconda case. They aren't answering the basic questions. And they say that they're going to be clear and transparent, but here it is, it's been another week, and there have been no updates, not even regarding charges or anything as far as I'm aware. So, next, Dolores Cannon predicted the world wouldn't end in 2012, and she was correct. She also describes a new Earth and a transition that the planet is going through, where a new, better Earth will split away from our present corrupt Earth. And so 2012 and 2025 are years that are significant to the transition. And I'm going to play a little bit from Dolores. Can't.
But the new earth is so beautiful and so wonderful. Now the old earth, we're leaving. It's a separating of the two. The old earth is where the negativity is. That's where all of the wars, all of the hurricanes, all of the earthquakes, all these things, the catastrophes are being left with the old earth. Those that are into too much negativity stay with the old earth. They can't change their vibration fast enough to go. It has to be a gradual thing. So they stay with the old earth. They said they've stayed with what they have created because that's their karma. They have to stay with that. Eventually when they die, they will go somewhere where they are still karma to be repaid. They say, don't worry about it. Eventually they're all going to get there anyway. But this is separating. This is what's in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, when they talk about the new heaven and the new earth. And those, they're taken, those are left behind. This is what they're talking about. They estimated to be around 2012, and that's when they stopped their calendars because they could see this was when this was going to happen. It's not the end of the world. The end of the world as we know it, because it's going to be moving into this beautiful, wonderful new earth. And we are separating. I don't know if you know Annie Kirkwood. She wrote Mary's Message to the World. For a long time, we were doing lectures and panels and things together, and on one of the panels, she was telling everybody about a vision she'd had. And in the vision, she was shown the earth separating. And I'm gonna have to hold this here. I hope you can hear me. She said she saw the earth as a ball. Then she saw the earth begin to pull apart the way a cell does when it begins to separate. And as it began to pull apart, suddenly there were 2 earths. The one sitting over here, she heard them saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. The one over here, she heard them saying, poor thing, she died believing all that. So the one will not be aware of the others, just like it says in the Bible. 2 people sleeping together, one is taken and one is left. 2 people working in a field, one is taken and one is left. So they won't even be aware that anything has ever happened between the 2. And when I talked about that at one lecture, this one man came up to me afterwards and he said, I want you to know I am a businessman. I'm logical. I don't think this way. This is the first time anything like this has ever happened. But he said, as you were describing the two Earths, Mary's vision, Annie's vision, that the whole auditorium disappeared. I was in outer space and I saw it happening just the way you said. So he went home and replicated it, reproduced it on his computer, and he said, you can use it in your book, just don't tell anybody where it came from. And I think it's in Convoluted 2. It shows the two Earths, one is over the other, just barely, one is shining. That's the new Earth, as we separate from the old Earth. Now, why don't you go ahead and tell them about what you were thinking about the, Pollyanna stuff and all that, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Because they said, nobody knows the answers to these things, but we do the best we can. We're supposed to tell people this is the best we can do. Okay.
What I was shown about how this is happening, and it goes along with what she's saying, that picture was replicated of what that one vision was. And I got a visual one day, and it happened with a very simple choice that I made, and it all comes down to choices. So, but first I want to, yeah, that would be right. Where she's talking about the two Earths. What they showed me is like, okay, these two are superimposed over each other. Because people are saying, they said, well, if this is happening, how does it look? I can still see all these things. These things are happening out there. I'm on the old Earth because look at all these horrible things that are going on. And that's, so what, nothing's happening. And if you look at it, see the two are superimposed over each other right now. That's why you can still see. You're actually in the new Earth now, okay?
And I just love Dolores Cannon. I love her information. Of course, what she was saying was related to the Bible. And it seems like the more I learn about her, the more it seems like she may have been a Rosicrucian, which is that's a German term for Rose Christian, which is a Gnostic Christian, more original, pure form of Christianity. So, last but not least, let's listen to a few minutes from the Raw Deal recorded earlier today at revolution.radio. In closing, each week I'd like to listen to Professor James Fetzer. Thanks for watching.
Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please help me?
Well, this is Jim Fetzer, your host on The Raw Deal. Very happy to be here with my co-host, Paul from California. We have lots to cover today, but the first story is one with a personal dimension. I have filed lawsuits against Moonship and Rumble for their violating their own terms of service, where the punitive damages could run as much as $30 million each. Let me share parts of what I have published on my blog and now being released as a press release, Madison, Wisconsin, August 14th, 2025. Rumble and BitChute were sued today for violating their own terms of service. Many have found themselves the targets of abuse in the past, but the case that prompted these lawsuits may be most egregious in the history of the internet. The plaintiff alleges he's been subjected to egregious forms of harassment, cyberstalking, defamation, and even elder abuse over 700 times by videos created by one Victor Hugo Vaca II, which they have published since January of 2025. The suits were filed by James Fetzer, Ph.D., on behalf of himself and his colleagues who have been attacked for speaking up on his behalf, and every Rumble or BitChute user who has flagged a video, only to have the moderator reply that it conforms to BitChute or Rumble's terms of service, which declare that those platforms will not allow personal information promoting harm or injury to any group or individual, including libel, slander, doxing, defamation or violation of privacy rights. Fetzer says it's all a sham and that they are legally liable for violating their own user contract. We submitted dozens and dozens of complaints to specific videos, which were loaded with defamation and violation of privacy rights, Fetzer explained, yet they came back promptly with claims to have been reviewed and found to be consistent with our terms of service. Those reviews appears to have been done by AI bots, not human beings. So we sent them both cease and desist demands, identifying the terms of service that were being violated, not just once, but hundreds of times. No response, just crickets. They appear to believe they are immune from liability for their platform users' content. The suits were filed separately against BitChute and Rumble at the federal court in the Western District of Wisconsin. While Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act provides broad immunity from litigation stemming from user content, social media platforms lose that immunity when they materially contribute to the creation or development of the unlawful content. Fetzer became a target of a relentless defamation campaign across both social media platforms after terminating a contributor from his show on Revolution Radio, The Raw Deal, in January 2025. After Vaca was terminated, he launched a 7-month defamation campaign that is still ongoing, in which he sought to discredit, defame, and deplatform Fetzer over his reporting on Sandy Hook. Vaca posted hundreds of videos defaming Fetzer to the point of overwhelming search engines with his defamatory content, which Fetzer describes as political pornography.